did it already. I think I did it. Yeah. I need to cut it just some. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vala Girivaradari Yasodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tirachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vala Girivaradari Yashodanandana Raja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tirachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Gopi Jana Vala Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vraja Jana Ranjana Yamuna Tirachari So now a little bit of kirtan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna,
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jai Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev, Jai Gurudev, Jaya Gurudev. Jaya Sri Radhe, Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Radhe, Jaya Sri Radhe. Namo Vishnupad Paramahamsa, Paravrajacharya, Saraswata, His Divine Grace, Shri Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki, Namacharya, Srila Haridas Thakur ki. Prem se kaho, Sri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki, Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath, Shama Sundar Radha Kunda, Giri Govardhan ki, Vrindavan Dham ki, Mathura Dham ki, Jagannath Puri Dham ki, Navadvip Dham ki, Mayapur Dham ki, Ganga Mai ki, Yamuna Mai ki, Tulsi Devi ki, Brihad Mirdanga ki, Hare Krishna Mahamantra ki Jai, Harinam Sankirtan ki Jai, book distribution ki Jai, Prasadam distribution ki Jai. All glories to assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Shri Shri Guru and Gauranga. Welcome to the Srimad Bhagavatam class. which is going to be a couple of verses today. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we're going to be discussing from the Srimad Bhagavatam 10th Canto, chapter 54, verses 7 and 8. 7 and 8. 7 and 8. Yeah, that one. Okay. Petu Shiram Sirathinam Ashvinam Gajinam Bhuvi Sakundala Kiritani Sosnishani Chakotisham Petushiram Sirathinam Ashvinam Gajinam Bhuvi Sakundala Kiritani Sosnishani Chakoti Shaha Petushiram Siratinam Ashvinam Gajinam Bhuvi Sakundala Kiritani Sosnishani Chakoti Shaha. Devotees. Okay. Sakundala Kiritani Sosnishani Chakotisha Petushiram Sirathinam Ashvinam Gajinam Bhuvi Sakundala Kiritani Sosnishani Chakotisha Petushiram Siratinam Ashvinam Gajinam Bhuvi Sakundala Kiritani Sosnishani Chakotisha. Ladies, Petushiram Sirathinam Ashvinam Gajinam Bhuvi Sakundala Kiritani Sosnishani Chakotisha Petushiram Siratina Ashvinam Gajinam Bhuvi Sakundala Kiritani Sosnishani Chakotisha. Petu fell. Shiramsi, the heads. Rathinam, of those riding on chariots. Ashvinam, of those riding horses. Gajinam, of those riding elephants. Bhuvi, to the ground. Sa, with. Kundala, earrings. kiritani, and helmets. Sa with Ushnishani, turbans. Cha and Gotishaha, by the millions. So we're going to backtrack to verse number 6 because that's the one that I was supposed to start with. So I'll go ahead and read the verse and the translation, and then we'll go on to the next one. What? What did I say? Yeah, so we're going back to 6. You don't need to repeat. I'll just go quickly through the whole thing, and you can see it on the screen. Tesham tad vikramam vira gada sankarshana dayaha amrishyamana narachar yaknurahaya gajarathan. Tesham, we can do the synonyms together. Tesham, by them, the opposing kings. Tat, that. Vikraman, show of prowess. Viraha, the heroes. Gada, Gada, the younger brother of Lord Krishna. Sankarshana, Lord Balaram. Adayaha, and others. Amrishamanaha, not tolerating. Narachahi, with arrows made of iron. Jagnuhu, the struck. Haya, horses. Gajan, elephants. Rathan, and chariots. Translation. The heroes of the Lord's army headed by Gada and Sankarshan, that is Krishna's younger brother, half-brother, son of Rohini, and Sankarshan, that is Lord Balaram, could not tolerate the aggression of the opposing kings. Thus, with iron arrows, they began to strike down the enemy's horses, elephants, and chariots. And there is no commentary from the disciples of Prabhupada. We do have some commentaries from Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur and Jiva Goswami in both of these verses. So let's read the translation all together. Number 6. The heroes of the Lord's army, headed by Gada and Sankarshan, could not tolerate the aggression of the opposing kings. Thus, with iron arrows, they began to strike down the enemy's horses, elephants, and chariots. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes, not being able to tolerate such courage in the enemy, or then not being able to tolerate the courage in the enemy, they destroyed the chariots and horses with arrows. And this is the Yadu army, destroying the enemy's horses and chariots and killing soldiers. Jiva Goswami writes, the word Vikraman, courage, is used to indicate the very nature of the enemy warriors, such as the word blue in Blue Lotus indicates the lotus nature. So the nature of the soldiers in the opposing army is that they're filled with courage. Gada and others could not tolerate the enemy's courage. Gada is mentioned first because out of great affection, he was in front. Since the horses traveled the fastest, they were first to receive the arrows. The elephants were next. Last, they destroyed all the chief chariots with a desire for complete victory. And now let's read the translation of number 7 all together. Let's read the translation all together, please. The heads of soldiers fighting on chariots, horses, and elephants fell to the ground by the millions. Some heads wore earrings and helmets, others turbans. Verse number 8 is very gory. I thought I would just stop with number 7. So 6 and 7. Okay. So Jiva Goswami writes, can you tell me if that sound is good? Yeah. The heads fell in order of excellence, again, from those riding on horses, those riding on elephants, and those riding on chariots. The majority fell with earrings, etc., though some fell with the earrings and crowns falling separately. By indicating the number of dead, the valor of the Yadus is known. By the millions is understood with the words in the next verse also. So it was complete destruction of the enemy soldiers' army. Omakianati Mirandasya Gananjana. Shalakayap Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Sri Chaitanya Manovistam Stapitayena Bhutale. Swayam Rupa Kadama Hyandadati Swapantam. Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu. Dina Bandhu Jagadpate. Gopesha Gopeka Kanta. Radha Kanta Namastate. If you know the verses, you can chant, you recite with me. Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi. Radha Vrindavaneshwari. Vrishabhanu Sute Devi. Pranamami Haribhye. Vancha Kalpataruvyascha. Kripa Sindhuvyavacha. Patitanam Pavanevya. Vaishnavevya Namo Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya. Prabhu Nityananda. Shri Advaita Gadadhar. Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. With your blessings, I pray that I may be able to convey something of value so that you can be benefited and I can be benefited also. So this is on account of the kidnapping of Rukmini and how the soldiers of the enemy army are going after Krishna and are going against the soldiers of Balaram who are also present there in that spot. So I'm going to read from the Gopal Champu to put things in perspective. We know that Krishna came to kidnap Rukmini, in that Rukmini was very slow in getting, after she came out of Durga's temple, she was very slow in getting onto her chariot to take her back to the palace. So much so that Krishna, who was in a chariot above everybody else's, immediately grabbed her, put her on his chariot, and disappeared with her. So the opposers of Krishna became bewildered by Maya, and the devotees of Krishna became joyful with devotion to him. And that is because the opposers of Krishna saw Rukmini with the material eyes, whereas the devotees saw Rukmini as the eternal consort of the Supreme Lord. While this occurred, Krishna remained seated in his chariot, higher than all the rest. The bride and groom gazed at each other as if eternally related, devoid of the glance of even the best of the public. In other words, the exchange and the glance exchange between Krishna and Rukmini was imperceptible by everybody else, the intensity and the quality of the glance. After they glanced at each other again, Rukmini deliberately delayed in order to climb into the chariot and glanced at Krishna with the edge of her eye. Krishna, positioned on his swift chariot, then took her up. Persons at a distance thought that Garuda on his flag had quickly taken her off to Dwarka. Of course, Krishna had the flag of Garuda. He took her and left. When he took her away, the unlimited people who had been bewildered by Maya, such as Jarasandha, came back to consciousness, awakened by the sound of Krishna's chariot. They could not understand when Krishna had come, when he left, and where he went. They are completely confused. After considering, they began to search, accompanied by the harsh, terrifying sound caused by the thumping of drums, the neighing of horses, the trumpeting of elephants, and the rattling of chariots. The best of soldiers began searching following the path of the kidnapper of the king's daughter, which was strewn with the bodies of all the enemies cut down by his chariot. In other words, the chariot went all over some parts of the army and killed all those soldiers. Their bodies torn, they became filled with affliction. When they saw the scene, they became completely flabbergasted. Though the armies came in front of Krishna, one cannot describe them because jackals only come in front of a lion out of insanity. So how could they possibly think that they were going to defeat and catch and defeat Krishna? Impossible. They were just jackals in front of the lion Krishna. Though Rukmini's heart was shy from the first meeting, because of her good upbringing, she embraced Krishna's face with her eyes, since she was fearful of the enemy's strength. Though she knows my power, she's afraid because of her nature as a young girl. Krishna calmed her quickly by his words, possessing increasing mercy. And we saw yesterday in the class by Nityanarayan Prabhu 6 points that he made about this verse in the Bhagavatam. How Krishna is very gently, kindly, and lovingly reassuring Rukmini that there is no danger, that she's going to be fine, that they're going to be fine. It is true that the enemy approached the Yarus and fired arrows at them, but they were like a mass of clouds in a strong gale. What do you think that means? I'm going to read the sentence again. It is true that the enemy approached the Yarus and fired arrows at them, but the arrows were like a mass of clouds in a strong gale. What is that? What is being said here? That this mass of clouds was being taken in a gale and destroyed. They were useless. That's what I think it means. That's what I understand. The Yarus clearly saw the enemies with their quivers behind. Amazingly, the enemy did not know the position of the Yarus limbs with their weapons. In other words, the Yarus saw the enemy army very clearly, but the enemy army could not understand what was going on, how the enemy soldiers, the Yarus soldiers, were in front of them, and how they were positioned, which is strategically very important in a war. The enemy, or a battle, the enemy had most valuable swords, but they were like treasures locked in a miser's storehouse. In other words, they had no purpose, no value, even though they were valuable swords. The enemy did not lament, and this is a very interesting point that's being made here by Srila Jiva Goswami. The enemy did not lament when countless foot soldiers, horses, chariots, and elephants fell in the battle, and we saw this in these verses today, because their bodies remained alive. They felt unequaled happiness. I'll read this again. So please help me and see what comes out of this, the meaning of this sentence or this short paragraph, these two sentences. The enemy did not lament when countless foot soldiers, horses, chariots, and elephants fell in the battle. Because their bodies remained alive, they felt unequaled happiness. Because they fell before Krishna. They saw Krishna, or they fell before Krishna's army. So even though they had been maimed, some of them killed, those who remained alive felt very blissful because they're fighting against the soldiers of Krishna. They were in the presence of the Supreme Lord. They had seen Krishna, they had seen Rukmini, and for them their life was successful. The piles of bodies of the terrified enemies run over by Krishna's fast chariot were like the steps to Swarga. So they understood we're going back, or we're going to the heavenly planets. Whatever happens is we're going to the heavenly planets. So this is an interesting depiction, there is something that appears to be contradiction here. How the soldiers, for example, can be so pleased and so blissful, and how the enemy soldiers' actions are practically useless. How the arrows, the showers of arrows, are being destroyed. In other words, it's indicated here that Krishna is invincible, and it's no point fighting against Krishna's army, Balaram's army in this case, because Balaram and Krishna are always victorious. So that is giving them an inkling of what they are facing. And they're facing total defeat. But at the same time, as we know, Krishna is so merciful, and Balaram is so merciful, that even though we are defeated, this defeat is the beginning, or maybe not only the beginning, but also the continuation of a life of success, which is to be able to engage in the loving service of the Supreme Lord. Now, all of these things are a little bit, we can question some of these things. So the issue of faith comes in at this point. And I was actually looking at verses by Srila Prabhupada on the point of faith and what is faith. Is faith something that we choose to experience? What do you think? Is that something that we choose, we willingly choose to experience? Huh? We can choose to associate with those who have faith. And that also indicates that there is some faith. Because if there is no faith, we couldn't possibly choose to associate with those whose faith can be inspiration for us, right? So going back to the question, so is that something that we are born with? Is that something that we want to have? What is faith? Exactly. It is a gift. It is given to us. And why is it given to us? It's not something that we can construct by force of will. There's no way. It's something that's given to us. And why is it given to us? And there is a difference between informed faith and blind faith, right? So what is it that is Krishna is inclined through Srila Prabhupada, his agent, through the pure devotee, to instill in our heart? And why do we all have some faith? Shraddha is the beginning. No, that's not answering the question, though. There must be some faith of something better than this material world. In other words, the person is searching. The person is searching for answers. The person is searching maybe for the absolute truth, or for a way of getting rid of pain and sorrow. That can be too. Or a person is searching for wealth and suffering because he is not wealthy, and is turning toward other options. Unless we want to turn to other options, we'll never be given the faith, because the faith is a gift that Krishna is giving the devotees so that we can undertake the process of devotion. And there must be an initial desire in our hearts to surrender at some level, So I was looking at these verses by Srila Prabhupada, which are extraordinarily beautiful. And there is this verse, which is Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, verse 41, which is, some of you know this verse, you are welcome to recite. Vyavasayatmika buddhir ekena kurunandana bahu shaka yanantascha buddhayo vyavasayanam. Those who are on this path are resolute in purpose, and their aim is one. O beloved child of the Kurus, the intelligence of those who are irresolute is many-branched. And Prabhupada writes in his commentary, his purport, a strong faith that by Krishna consciousness, one will be elevated to the highest perfection of life, is called Vyavasayatmika, intelligence. The Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya 22:62, this instructions to Sri Sanatana Goswami states, Shraddha Shabde Vishvasa Kahe Sudrida Nischaya Krishna Bhakti Kaile Sarva Karma Kritahaya. So I'm going to read this purport that Srila Prabhupada on this verse. So the verse reads in the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Shraddha is confident. Shraddha is confident, firm faith that by rendering transcendental loving service to Krishna, one automatically performs all subsidiary activities. Such faith is favorable to the discharge of devotional service. And we know when we recite the Shikshastakam, that the first element in the Shikshastakam, all the way through pure Krishna Prema, in separation and in union, verses 7 and 8, is Shraddha. That's the beginning. Unless we have the Shraddha, we cannot undertake the process of devotion. And let's remember that Shraddha is a gift. And it's a gift from Krishna and our Guru, our Srila Prabhupada, and the pure devotees, because we have desire at some level, a desire to know what is beyond our material existence. And we have maybe a glimpse of who we are. It all, for everybody, is different. Everybody's story is absolutely unique. And Krishna relishes the uniqueness of each one of his fragmental parts and parcels. So Srila Prabhupada writes, firm faith and confidence are called Shraddha. When one engages in the Lord's devotional service, he is to be understood to have performed all his responsibilities in the material world. He has satisfied his forefathers, ordinary living entities and demigods, and is free from all responsibility. Such a person does not need to meet his responsibilities separately. So Srila Prabhupada indicates that such a person does not need to meet his responsibilities separately. What happens? What does the word separately really indicate here in this sentence? Because we are supposed to perform our responsibilities. We have husbands or wives or children, or we have jobs. Some of us, some of you don't. I used to. So what is this separately word indicates? What does it indicate? Exactly. That we don't do this. We don't perform our duties with the material conception, but now we are engaging these responsibilities in the consciousness that I am a servant of the Supreme Lord in Krishna consciousness. Exactly. Fruitive activity is meant to satisfy the senses of the conditioned soul. However, when one awakens to Krishna consciousness, he does not have to work separately for pious activity. The best achievement of all fruitive activity is detachment from material life, and this detachment is spontaneously enjoyed by the devotee firmly engaged in the Lord's service. This is interesting because this detachment from the material conception of action is spontaneously enjoyed by the devotee firmly engaged in the Lord's service, which means that as we are capable more and more in the process of increasing our devotion for the Supreme Lord, we are able to connect everything to the service of the Lord, with the service of the Lord, with the idea of pleasing Him, that there is a reciprocation from the Supreme Lord to where we know, because we experience a sense of satisfaction, that this is what is happening, that we're doing the right thing. Because Krishna does give us signs that we're doing the right thing. And of course, it has to be confirmed by the association and guidance of the spiritual master. The spiritual master is essential in this case. So there are so many verses that talk about faith. And faith is a very important element because it's at the bottom, so to speak, of the process of devotion. Unless we have faith, we don't have the possibility of having sadhusanga, engage in acts of enact in a bhajan, get our consciousness, start to get our consciousness purified, and then develop steadiness in the process, an attraction for the process, and develop a taste for the process, and then eventually develop bhava and prema. And I believe there are 2 or 3 or 4 minutes left, and I have a lot of verses, but this is a very important subject, and I would encourage everybody to do a little bit of reading on that, because there are a lot of points being made by Srila Prabhupada in the scriptures about the power of faith. And there is a difference between blind faith and informed faith. Informed faith is when we start to believe in something and there is confirmation that that's the right way to go. It becomes informed. I'll give an example. If a person has an illness and goes to the doctor, and the doctor prescribes something that takes care of that problem, and goes back to the same doctor over and over several times, and the doctor is really effective, and he knows exactly how to deal with the patient so that the patient will heal, then at that point the faith in the doctor is informed. So we have to have informed faith, and that is, informing means experience, having the faith being experienced. And then as we become more and more attached to the process of devotion, the faith increases. So now that we have a few minutes left, I would like to see if anybody wants to make a comment or share a realization. Blind faith is like, for example, you believe that certain political candidate is going to do something for you when you know that he's lying through his teeth, right? So I still believe that. That's not even blind faith, that's stupid faith.
Because Krishna in the Gita states that when one decides to dedicate himself to a particular deity, he makes that faith strong. So that there's an indication that the faith is actually coming from super soul, like Matak Smritir Gyanam Apohanam Cha. And the people who actually dedicate themselves to demigods, it's not exactly blind faith because they get the reciprocation. Krishna actually states this in the Gita, that, you know, quickly you get the results. So there seems, faith is just something that's general, like you even mentioned in regard to doctors. So it really depends on what's one's desire. As Krishna says, ye yatam ham prapajante tam sataiva pajamyaham, that when it actually desires something, then Krishna gives a particular type of faith, particularly if one desires to be Krishna conscious, one desires to get out of the material world. I mean, I remember before I joined the Krishna conscious movement, I didn't really have, I mean, I didn't know anything about Krishna, but I really prayed to God, please show me yourself, please show me yourself and let me understand. And then because of that initial interest, and Prabhupada sometimes defines Shraddha as initial interest too. Initial interest. Another point about about the word Shraddha, the word actually means shakda, to give one's heart. Okay, sorry about that.
Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami
Purusham Tamaham Vajamin Govindam Adi Purusham Tamaham Vajamin Menam Kanvandam Maravindadalaya Taksham Marhamat.
Going down. Namago Vishnu Pataya Krishna Prastaya Pujataya Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Samanitina Vinay Namaste, Saraswati Devi, Purani Vacha, Nagini Visesha, Shunyavadi, Masya Jagati, Saturday. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Siva Society Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadada Siva Sati Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Shri Krishna Radha Shiva Sade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Jai Advaita Radha Shiva Sade Gaur Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Bhakti Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Lokinana Dragade Lokinana Ragado Lokinana Rate Rate Rane Rane Jaya Rade Rate Rane Rande Jaya Rade Jaya Rade Jaya Sri Radha Jai Om Vishnu Pada.
Bhavamahatavagni nirvapanam Shreya Kairavya Chandrika Vitaranam Vidyavadu Jivanam Nandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Extra mercy today. Jayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam Nam Namakari Bahuda Nija Sarva Shaktis Tatrapitani Amita Smaranena Kala Etadrishita Vakripa Bhagavan Mamapi Durdaiva Midrishami Hajjani Nanuraga Trinadapi Sunichena Charorapi Suhishuna Amanaya Manadena Kirtaniya Sadahari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavitam Va Jagadisha Kamaye Mama Janmani Janmani Ishvare Bhavatai Bhaktir Hoitaki Twai Ainanda Tanuja Kinkaram Patitam Mam Vishame Bhavam Buddha Kripayata Vabada Pankaja Stita Duli Sadrashim Vachintina Nayanam Galadashu Daraya Varanam Kadgadarudaya Gira Pulakarnishitam Vapukada Tavanama Grahane Bhavishyati Yugayatam Namishena Chakshusha Bravashayatam Shunayatam Jagat Sarvam Govindam Virahename Ashlishyavapadam Rastumam Adarshanam Marmahatakarotuva Yatatatava Vidadatulam Patomat Prananatastusa Eva Napara. Victory to the Sri Krishna Sankirtan, which cleanses the heart of all the dust accumulated for years and extinguishes the fire of conditional life, of repeated birth and death. This Sankirtan movement is the prime benediction for humanity at large, because it spreads the rays of the benediction moon. It is the life of all transcendental knowledge. It increases the ocean of transcendental bliss, and it enables us to fully taste the nectar for which we are always anxious. O my Lord, congregational chanting of your holy name alone can render all benediction to living beings, and thus you have hundreds and millions of names like Krishna and Govinda. In these transcendental names, you've invested all your transcendental energies. They're not even hard and fast rules for chanting these names. O my Lord, out of kindness you enable us to easily approach you by your holy names, but I'm so unfortunate that I have no attraction for them. One should chant the holy name of the Lord in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the straw in the street. One should be more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all sense of false prestige, and should be ready to offer all respect to others. In such a state of mind, one can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. O Almighty Lord, I have no desire to accumulate wealth, nor do I desire beautiful women, nor do I want any number of followers. I only want your causeless devotional service birth after birth. O Son of Maharaj Nanda Krishna, I am your eternal servitor, yet somehow or other I have fallen into the ocean of birth and death. Please pick me up from this ocean of death and place me as one of the atoms at your lotus feet. Oh, my Lord, when will my eyes be decorated with tears of love flowing constantly when I chant your holy name? When will my voice choke up, and when will the hairs of my body stand on end at the recitation of your name? O Govinda, feeling your separation, I am considering a moment to be like 12 years or more. Tears are flowing from my eyes like torrents of rain, and I am feeling all vacant in the world in your absence. I know no one but Krishna as my Lord, and he shall remain so even if he handles me roughly by his embrace or makes me broken-hearted by not being present before me. He is completely free to do anything and everything, for he is always my worshipful Lord unconditionally. Shri Shastra Ki Jai. And yesterday we had a wonderful Harinam in front of, right by Weaver Street, and we were graced with the presence of Bir Krishna Maharaj, who led a really wonderful kirtan, and actually, Haribo! And actually someone came up afterwards and said, what a great kirtan, and then she stayed around a while while we were still chanting after Maharaj left, and